Hi everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Melbourne for our second session, part of our three-part series around asset management. Today's session talks about the benefits of moving to MAS, which is the Maximo application suite. Here with me today, I have Hayden Oliver, who's one of our business development managers for Australia in the APAC region, and Todd Munro, who's asset management coordinator at Connect East. So, in terms of today's session, we will be focusing, like I say, on the Maximo application suite, and part of that has been around IBM's recent investments and announcements around that move from 7.6 to the new MAS suite. There's a few considerations to take upon that in terms of moving to MAS, and for whether you're an existing Maximo user or not, all of this information we think will be really helpful to you to help you on that journey as you look to grow your asset management strategy further. I guess in terms of one of the considerations around MAS is, well, okay, I've heard a bit about MAS, I want to know a bit more about it. What are the things that I need to know to take that step forward through there? And part of that is a determination really around it. The current 7.6 version goes out of support in September 2025. So having that key date there as a guide and working back from there to go, well, I know this is going to happen, and stepping back from there about those sort of considerations that need to be made from there. So part of that is then, okay, well, where do I go? How do I take that first step through there? So we'll touch on that throughout today's session, but I guess firstly, maybe Hayden, you can talk through some of the new features and aspects of MAS that clients can look to expect from that.
Yeah, thanks Adrian. Morning Todd. Exciting to come and talk to you about MAS and what's happening here. I think as you pointed out, Adrian, MAS is the new version. It's a major version change, and we understand that most organisations upgrade for one of three typical reasons. Either they want to stay supported, they want better reliability and stability because of technical improvements, or they can see value in some of the features and functionality that come with the new version, and or any number of those combined. So, there are a range of benefits to upgrade to MAS, and we're seeing a lot of organisations evaluating on that basis. I guess, Todd, you've got an interesting story around upgrades and staying supported. What happened at Connect East?
So if we wind the clock back 7 or 8 years, we did a massive jump from version 5 to version 7 with the help of BPD. And what we'd unfortunately done was we let our system fall behind by about 10 years. So we implemented it quite a number of years before we engaged your services, and unfortunately we had a very, very large gap that we needed to make up, and that was quite an extensive process. It was about 12 months in total to do that upgrade. Just from the planning perspective, making sure that the data was all coming across, all the planning, all our customizations and configurations, and making our system more streamlined, bringing it into the time, which was back in 2017, so bringing it up to date back then. And that's one thing we promised ourselves we wouldn't do again in the future, let us fall behind so many versions. So it's really important for us to keep up to date.
It's a really valid point, and I think that's part of the message in terms of today is that ongoing improvements to the application, addressing vulnerabilities, offering new features, better support ongoing through there. That's part of it, is to make sure that you are looking at this on a regular basis as an organisation. I guess in terms of that Connect East approach, understanding that you guys do focus on continual improvement, What's your take on that in terms of how you've been working towards that, coupled with the upgrades?
Yeah. So we never want to go behind. As I mentioned before, we always like to be one step behind, though. We don't like to be the pioneers. So we like someone to take that mantle from us. But we always need to be up to date. We always need to have those latest security patches available.
Yeah.
We don't like to go out of service. So that September 25 date is a key date in my mind, and a key date that we've been talking about to make sure that we're upgraded by that date. So we're going to hit that target with your help. Our business is classed as critical infrastructure of Victoria, so security is key to us. Also having the ability to add on or use any of those Maximo products that we don't currently have.
Yeah.
We do use Scheduler, so we keep that moving forward. We do run mobility, but to have other options of mobility if what we're currently running could be better.
Yeah.
If we're not on the latest and the greatest, we don't have those options available to us. So it's really important. Security, really important. Maximo is our asset management system. We can't see ourselves moving away from that in my time there.
Yeah.
So I really need to keep it where it needs to be, at the level it needs to be. Support, I get from you guys, but the stability of the system is really important. I've got it on the cloud now, so that's working really well. I just need to keep it at that level, and I need to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Hayden, anything else to add on that front from your end?
I think, like Todd said, everyone's striving to become better at asset management, continue to mature, continue to find ways that deliver better efficiencies or just better ways of doing things. So I think that's what MAS offers. It's got a little bit of something in it for everybody, whether that is on the technical side, reliability, security, or features and functionality. It's helping all organisations keep improving.
Yeah, fantastic. Sort of touched on some of those new technologies that are coming through. I've heard some stuff around health and dashboards and some other things. Do you want to maybe cover that a bit further, Hayden?
Yeah, I think there's a range of new features and functionality that have been introduced as part of MAS. So, you've got within the old Maximo, which is now called Manage, you've got things like new and improved role-based dashboards. So really helping users focus in on the key aspects of their role, the key information that they need to be able to action things in a timely manner. You've got new functionality like reliability-centered maintenance coming in. So there's a whole data set that is now available in terms of, I think it's more than 800 equipment types, more than 58,000 failure modes, and more than 5,000 PM tasks. Yeah. Plus the ability to compose reliability-centered maintenance there. Also, you've got the introduction of the Asset Performance Management Suite. So that covers things like Monitor, which is bringing in sensor data and other information and trending that and being able to overlay anomaly detections and alerts and actions that come out of that. Health, which is a visual representation of the health of your asset, so being able to apply formulas, I guess, with certain parameters to determine the health of an asset and then visually represent that so you can pick up deteriorations quicker. Predict, or a whole AI space as well. So Predict is the first part of that, which is around predicting degradation and asset failures in advance. Yeah. Visual inspection, which is visually picking up anomaly detection on things like images and video, and great in the condition assessment space, gives you real consistency there. And Assist, which is providing technicians out in the field access to knowledge and information, and also specialists that are in remote locations to really support their ability to maintain the equipment at the time in a timely and effective manner.
All sounds pretty good, Todd.
It does.
All right. And so one of the things when you do embark on a journey like this is the licensing side of things. And it is something that is a key part of it, aside from the actual software in itself. So perhaps you can talk a little bit about, maybe Hayden, on the licensing model that is now applicable with MAS.
Yeah, so there's been a few changes in the MAS or in the Maximo licensing over the course of the last few years, but the introduction of MAS has also seen the introduction of what's known as app points as a licensing model, and this really brings a lot more flexibility to organisations around their licensing. So there's no limitations now on needing to only have a certain number of a license type or a user type. Yep. You've got a lot more flexibility around that. There's no limitation on the number of users that you have in the system either. You really have a lot more flexibility there. And the way it works is you've got a pool of points, and a user will draw on points when they log in based on the access and permissions that they have. And then when they log out, they release those points back into the pool. Yeah. So as long as you're keeping under your max number of points, then there's no restrictions there. So it does bring a lot of flexibility. It does bring the opportunity to extend the use of Maximo out within the organisation a lot more, which, no doubt will allow for efficiencies and better processes and so forth. So I think there's lots of great benefits with the new license model.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that flexibility to scale up and down as well is a big part of it as well. And I guess, Todd, from your experience in working in your organisation, that there's staff movements and changes happening quite often. So having that flexibility would, I'm sure, be a good thing.
All the time. Things are forever changing. More people on, people leaving, which is always the case. But from my point of view, having you guys look after all my licensing requirements takes away any of that worry for me. You guys handle all of that, and you talk about points and make sure you've got enough points and all that. Yeah. I hand the baton over to you guys, and you run that for me. Yeah. So from my point of view, that's fantastic. So understand there's all that flexibility for those that aren't in that space. But personally, and from our organisation, don't need to worry about that.
Yep. One of the things we take care of. Excellent. I guess in terms of, I touched on the journey and what that could be like moving forward. So what are some of the considerations, perhaps, Hayden, on that? How someone goes from whether they're 7.6 or they're embarking on MAS as a new client or new organisation?
Yeah, well, I think like we mentioned before, MAS is a completely new application. There's a lot of change that's coming with MAS from the previous versions, version 7.6 and earlier. You are moving from a single application to now a suite of applications. And there's quite a lot of infrastructure changes that have been required as part of that to allow the suite of applications to be managed from one environment. So there is a lot of change, but there's a lot of benefit there as well. There's a lot of security benefits. You're getting the introduction of Red Hat OpenShift, so you've got that multi-mode cluster environment, which gives really good reliability and stability benefits. Yeah. And although the upgrade path might be a little longer in duration than potentially a 7.6.1 to 7.6.2 upgrade might have been, future upgrades once you're on MAS are expected to be a lot simpler and a lot quicker and easier. So a lot of benefits that are going to come from that move. Yeah. There are a few technical changes too that are going to impact some organisations. I think the big one is that RMI integration is no longer supported. So if you are using RMI with any of integrated systems, then there is a requirement to make some changes there so that everything is still compatible.
Yeah. Excellent. And I think that piece there you touched on, Todd, about that 10-year gap, and really part of the messaging from here is let's learn from that. Let's try to make the upgrades a little bit more frequent. And there's that piece around, yep, this part might be a little bit more challenging for some organisations, but you can overcome this hurdle relatively straightforwardly. And then after that, you go through the upgrades in a lot more streamlined manner. I guess that's for a little bit around MAS and what that looks like in terms of moving towards that. A couple of things just to round out. If you have any questions from today, please put them in the chat and our team will respond to them in due course. There'll also be a link to episode 1 where we talked about a little bit further around enterprise asset management, EAM, in a bit more detail. So there'll be some links to that as well. And if you are a bit unsure about where to take the next step, there'll also be a link below just with regards to BPD offering a free assessment of your current environment or situation. And as part of that, that should help clarify where you are today and how you can take that next step forward with MAS. So lastly, thank you, Todd.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Hayden.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you everyone for taking the time to watch this presentation. Reach out with those details below and we'll see you hopefully for episode 3. Thank you. Bye-bye.